Welcome to Tech Brothers. In this video, we're going to learn how to create SQL Server Availability Group Cluster in Microsoft Azure. These are the high-level steps. First step we're going to do is add Windows Failover feature on both nodes. This is going to be two-node cluster, and once the failover feature is added on both nodes, we are going to validate both nodes. Using one node, you can use a failover cluster manager on either node and add both of the nodes and run your validation. This will check the prerequisites whether we can create the cluster on both nodes or not. And if we run into errors or warnings, we will take a look on those. And during the validation, we will run the custom test, even though Microsoft recommends that you should run all the tests, but this is going to be the cluster that is going to support always on SQL Server Availability Group. So each node will have its own local storage. So we're going to omit the storage part, that we're not going to use any shared storage. So let's go ahead and omit the storage. Why need to run the test on the storage? Because it will give us warning that there is no shared storage, etc. And once the validation is successful, we'll create the cluster. Now there is an issue with the Azure. It happens all the time. I have done that many implementation. And once you create the cluster, what it does is it grabs one of the node's IP address, because in the beginning there is no way that you can give the static IP. You can use script to give the static IP. That's another way to do it, to avoid this troubleshooting IP conflict of the cluster number 6. But if you use graphic user interface, it is very hard to give, actually impossible to give the static IP. So DHCP setting, what it does is grab one of the node's IP address and create the IP conflict. So what it means is when we create the cluster either cluster will not come online, or if cluster comes online, it grabs the IP address of the node. And since it's a two-node cluster in my case, both nodes have votes, and when cluster nodes, one of the node goes down, it loses the vote weightage on the cluster, and cluster goes down. And how we will troubleshoot the IP address, we will take a look during our demo. And after that, once the cluster is created, we'll configure SQL Server Availability Group to create AG groups, and that would be the next video. So let me show you real quick. Right here is my DNS. Right now you can see that there is no cluster created. We have TBS SQL Node 1. This is going to be part of this cluster. TBS SQL Node 2. This is going to be part of the cluster. So let's go and take a look on the nodes. I'm going to bring up the second node too. So this is TBS SQL Node 2. And this is TBS SQL Node 1. And we're going to add Windows feature on each of the nodes. Let's expand that. And again, on Node 2, let's go ahead and add roles and feature. Click Next, Next, and select the Node 2. This is going to be the Node 2. Select it and click Next. And since it's a feature, we're going to click Next and add failover clustering right here. And we do want to include the management tools as well. So click Add Features and click Next. And click Install. This feature, adding this feature does not require restart, but if you have added other features that do require restart, you can click right now, right up here, restart destination server automatically if required. But this feature, adding failover clustering feature, does not require the restart. So click Install. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on our Node 1. This is our Node 1. Click Manage, Add Roles and Features, or you can click right here. Next. Select Node 1. And click on Failover Clustering, Add Features, Next, and Install. Now, feature installation is going to take a little bit time, so I'm going to pause the video. Once the installation is done, we'll be back. All right, as you can see that feature installation is completed on both nodes. Let's close this. Let's close this one as well. And then we can pick one node and start our validation. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize the node 2 and start working on node 1. Open the Failover Cluster Manager. I'm running on a memory a little bit low, so let me close this and open it. All right, let's click on Tools and click on Failover Cluster Manager again. This time it loaded, and right-click on the Failover Cluster Manager and click on Validation Configuration, and we need to add both of our nodes in the validation so the cluster can check whether everything is okay for us to create the cluster. So in my case, it's TBS SQL node 1 and semicolon TBS SQL node 2. This is how you add multiple servers at a time. Click Add and click Next. So as I said that run all tests is recommended from Microsoft. However, we know that this cluster is going to support the always on availability group, so we'll select what we wanted to run only tests. I select, click Next, and we'll take the storage out because there is no shared storage. Every node will use its local storage. Click Next, Next, and now the validation against both nodes is running. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I will pause the video, and once the validation is completed, we'll be back. Okay, as you can see that the validation of the configuration of both nodes is completed. We do have some warnings, so let's take a look on the report before we create cluster. And it is important to look at the report because you wanted to eliminate all the warnings if you're preparing this. This is for your production environment. So we have network warning right here. What is complaining about right here is that in this cluster, the heartbeat is not set up. That means the private communication between the nodes is not set up for production environment. I will recommend that you add another NIC and have private communication between all the nodes that's part of this cluster. Even though Microsoft says that from Windows 2012 and above, you don't need to do that. What it means is that it will not stop you from creating cluster, but the stability of the cluster will be really not good if you don't do that. I would recommend go ahead and do that. So if we go back, and the other is the patch level. Other warning we got is the patch level. This is important too. So it'll show you that which server is missing what patches. Make sure that all the nodes that's going to be part of this cluster have the same patch level. Since this is demo, let's ignore that for now. But again, for production environment, let's not ignore it. So click on Create Cluster now and finish. And now the Create Cluster wizard is here. Click Next, and this is the name of the cluster. In my case, it's going to be TBS SQL AG-CLU. Next. And right here it says add all eligible storage to the cluster. Since we don't have a shared storage, I'm going to uncheck that because I don't want it to take accidentally something that it thinks that I can take it there. Click Next. And now creating new cluster wizard is running. It'll take a little bit of time. We'll be back once it's completed. All right, you have successfully completed the Create Cluster wizard. You can look at the report right now. It's complaining about not having the witness disk right here. but we will add that later on. Click Finish, and let's see if we can connect to our cluster. Again, part of the reason that this has taken time and will not be online, this cluster will not be online, is because it has taken the IP address of one of the node. So if it has taken one of the IP address that is given to a node, the node will go down thinking that there's an IP conflict, and the cluster will not come online because it says that the IP address is already in use. So I will show you that there are a few steps needs to be done. Maybe cluster need to be started forcefully, and we need to go in DNS. As you can see right here, that operation has failed. It cannot find the cluster. So if we click OK and try to browse to the cluster, connect to the cluster and browse it. This is the cluster. This is from the previous demo. If you click OK, it's going to say that no, I cannot connect to the cluster. So we'll go back to our DNS and change the IP address, and I'll show you right there that what IP address this cluster has taken. So you will see that that IP address is also assigned to one of the node. So while it does this, let's go and take a look on our DNS and refresh this and see if the cluster is created here. As you can see, TBS SQL AG cluster is created. Look at here. This is the cluster IP address it has taken, 30. And TBS node 1 also has the same IP address. So let's go ahead. One of the resolution is you will go in the properties and change this IP address so that cluster IP address, the node IP address will be free. So we'll apply, OK, and minimize this. And now we'll have to restart our cluster or start our cluster forcefully, and then do the same configuration in here that we have completed in our DNS. Okay, we got an error. Cluster TBS SQL AG CLU is not ready. Let's click OK. And we have to do a couple things in order for us to actually connect to the cluster. Restart the cluster services on both nodes so that they can claim their static IP that we have given, and then force start your cluster from right here. So let me go ahead and bring the nodes right here. I'm going to go in the services and restart the cluster services on the nodes. So here's the cluster services. Even though it's running, that's okay. Restart it and minimize this one and go to our second node. And I'll go in the services on this one as well and restart the services. It's a hassle, but this is how it happens. All right, we'll minimize this, and now let's go ahead and attempt again to connect to our cluster. Let me go back and see that if this is the right cluster name I'm selecting. I'm going to open my DNS and see TBS SQL AG CLU and TBS SQL AG CLU, yes. Okay, after a little bit, the cluster has come back, but as you can see, the node right here, one is running the cluster services and other one is not running. Obviously, it thinks that my IP address is taken, so it creates a little bit issue for us as well. So we will go ahead and try to start cluster, and then we'll force start cluster so that we can go ahead and change the IP address. I'm sure there are better ways to do that. If you use script, you will not run into this issue. But if you do from graphic user interface, this is the problem that you will run into. And this is the solution that I found, that you go ahead and change the IP address on your for your cluster on your DNS, and then try to restart the services on each node so they can claim their static IP. And after that, once we are connected with our cluster, then we will change the IP address of the cluster from here. So let's go ahead and force start cluster. And it'll take a little bit time, but it will force start our cluster, and then we should be able to change the IP address. Okay, as you can see that we are connected with our cluster, but our cluster is down at the moment, and let's fix that right now. See, the IP address, even though we have changed it in the DNS, but it's still here. So right click on the IP address right here before you bring it online, and change from DHCP. This is the problem right here, that from the DHCP it was given that 30 is available IP, even though it's not available. So I'm going to click on static IP, and instead I will give the IP address that I just updated in DNS, which was 25. Let me show you real quick. So our cluster right here, when it was updated in DNS, it was 30. But I changed it to 25, so the 30 will be free. Now I'm going to change this with the same IP on our cluster. Apply. And click OK. Now you should be able to bring your cluster online. As you can see, your cluster is online right now. Let's go on the nodes and click on our node 2. It is still down, network configuration. There's no network configuration. Let's go ahead and you can restart the services, but let me refresh that. It might come online on its own since the IP address is so on the node 2, it's still down. As you can see, it's unavailable. So I will go in the node 2. Let me see if it's a node 1 or node 2. This is node 1, so I will go ahead and restart the cluster services on node 1 so that it'll reclaim its IP address. Let's refresh that and restart the services. Okay, it's running, and once we refresh this, it should be joining soon. As you can see, it's joining. Now it's up. So let's refresh everything. So this is the hassle that you have to go through in Azure. Usually this does not happen on premise. If I click here, let's make sure that the Ethernet is up. As you can see, 31, and Ethernet is up on this 30. 10.0.0.30. So we'll go back to our steps. As you can tell from here that the troubleshooting of IP conflict of the cluster is quite a bit difficult and frustrating. I'm not sure why this happens, but it happens in Azure, and I wanted to share it with you. Well, this is about it. Next, in our next video, we're going to configure our SQL Server availability groups, and we're going to create our availability group. And thanks for watching.